are on a vitamin A cassava field. When we say vitamin A, cassava, it differs from the conventional cassava just in the color of the root flesh. Whereas the white conventional variety is white in color, the yellow biofortified variety is yellow in color, and the difference is easy to see. But let's quickly take a look at how all of this came about. This is a cassava plant, and on this you find the male and the female organs. Here you have the anthers, and here you have the stigma. So when you make a cross, you eventually get a fruit. And each of these fruits, which is a capsule, contains 3 seeds. When you harvest this and you plant them out, they produce new cassava plants. Unfortunately, they are never the same. So if you produce 1 million seeds, you're going to have 1 million varieties. This should tell you the intensity of work that has gone into the development of these biofortified varieties. But then how did we get the parents? It's a very simple scenario. You want to have light-skinned children and you are dark in complexion, then please look for a light-skinned partner. Otherwise, you will seldom get the results you want. And so parental selection is a key aspect of our breeding work. Which parents will combine to give us varieties that will produce beta-carotenoids? That is the work of breeders. And it took us years to do that. But let's not take you through the rudimentaries of plant breeding. But the fact is, when you produce your seeds and you plant them out, the ability to select from your population what is needed requires that you have the eyes of an eagle. You must see what others do not see. Over a period of 7 years of selection, yes, you can come up with a new variety. So now looking at vitamin A cassava, what have been our experiences? In 2011, 3 new varieties were released, each of them having about 50% of the target of the nutrient level that we desire. And then we realized that we needed to reach out to millions of Nigerians with planting materials. So the question was, how do we ensure that we go faster than the normal multiplication ratio that we have? Because the conventional ratio dictates that if you start off with a bundle, then in a whole year, 12-month cycle, you're going to have 10 bundles only. That's how much you can get. So we say it's a ratio of 1 to 10. If we go at 1 to 10, it will take us the next 40 years to reach out to Nigerian farmers with improved planting materials. So we have to innovate the system. We have to innovate seed multiplication. So today we have a rapid system to multiply cassava seeds, such that, contrary to the 1 to 6 ratio, now we get between 1 to 30 and 1 to 40 ratio. That's a big contribution, especially if we remember the fact that we have a very short time as a project to reach out to the people. What you see here is a typical field where cassava is multiplied. And if you then look at the density of plants, it tells you a lot of stories here. In a conventional cassava farm, what you find is that stems are planted at 1 meter by 1 meter. But here we have them planted at 1 meter by about 0.35, 0.4 meters. So the plant population on this field comes to about 25,000 plants. as against the conventional 10,000 plants. And then we go the extra mile to employ the best agronomic package, from the point of cutting the stems to field maintenance and all that we do to ensure that the plant grows well and that it produces the yield that you need. So from this field, we shall not harvest anything less than 1,400 bundles after 12 months, as against 300 bundles after 12 months. And the good thing here is that the package also helps to ensure that when you prune out these stems the first year, you don't need to harvest the field. You allow the field to regrow, and in 6 months thereafter, you again double your yields. You double your stem yields. And so for us, a systematic multiplication of stems is very crucial when you are managing a project that has to do with cassava. Seed multiplication remains a primary challenge to delivering new technologies in the cassava sector. And for Harvest Plus, we just must find a solution to it. And I can assure you, we've gone a long way doing that. But having it done on the field, in an experimental field, will not provide a solution. Getting farmers on their fields to replicate what you have and commercialize your package is a lot more rewarding. What are the challenges that farmers could face? Several of them. Technical problems. And so for us, it's a case of using this as a model field and bringing farmers to train them. So we have several capacity building activities going on to ensure that farmers internalize what it takes to rapidly multiply cassava and produce high quality seed in a ratio that's cost efficient. When the seeds are produced, what do you want to do? You want to market. And the question is, how are stems marketed today? You go to any village or any stem markets, this is what you find as the seed stock. Stems are sold in bundles. The bundle you see here has been well treated. This is why it looks so beautiful, and you don't have stems that look off types here. It's not generally the case that you find your bundles this way. Some bundles are so amorphous, so shapeless, that loading them onto a truck becomes a primary challenge for you. So, you want to plant 1 hectare of cassava. You realize that you will need about 60 of this type of bundles to plant 1 hectare. In the case of maize, you need about 20 kilograms of seeds to plant maize, and that you can carry in just a small bag. 20 kilograms. For cassava, you need a mini pickup to transport the stems you require to plant 1 hectare. That's a big challenge for you. The stems are quite bulky. Your costs of transportation will almost make your work very, very uneconomical for you. How do we innovate seed systems? How do we ensure that your costs are made to be competitive? Today, we are promoting a new packaging system for seeds. Yes, we call these stems, but to a farmer, these are seeds. So, how can you go to any seed store and pick up your seeds for cassava? The same way it's done for maize. And this is now what we have, well-branded and fully commercialized. So it's easy for you today now to go to a seed store and pick up the number of bags you need for planting. How do we make farming a lot friendlier? How do we remove the drudgery? We must allow technology to drive what we do. And that is what we do as Harvest Plus. So, to ensure that investors in the seed sector to produce competitively, we've had to develop new cutting techniques to make life very easy for them. Conventionally, what farmers do is to use the cutlass, bring out each stem, and cut into sticks. First, there are issues of standardization. You seldom get stems of the same length. There are damages that you incur doing that. And then we said, okay, farmers can also use secateurs to cut their stems, which also, yes, encourages just the production of good quality stems or sticks. This has worked, no doubt about it. But for either of this, the output per unit time is on the low side. So for a farmer to produce or to plant on 1 hectare, you need to cut 60 bundles. And the maximum any farmer can cut a day is 8 bundles. So you need 8 people to cut the stems to plant 1 hectare for you in a day. If you are paying 1,000 naira to each labor, you'll be spending 8,000 naira just to cut stems that you need for 1 hectare. Let's see a different scenario coming from deep thoughts. You put this as it is on this stem cutter, and instead of using your cutlasses, you pick up your chainsaw, because this has been serrated, standard length. You power your chainsaw and you cut it. You cut the same size, well managed quality. And this you then package into sachets like this. The same one person who will cut just 8 bundles for you a day will cut 300 bundles in a day using just this chainsaw. What is business? Business for us in the cassava value chain is anything that helps you to reduce your production cost without compromising quality. So in the vitamin A cassava sector, our duty is not just to introduce these new varieties to farmers. Our duties include ensuring that the delivery is sustainable, that to sustain itself whether we are there or not. And the private sector remains our strongest partner in achieving this dream. But the private sector will require that you empower them with skills so that they produce quite competitively.